to a python or boa, whatever it was. All the way down, you're sitting on your couch, and could you imagine a big snake all coming, out of the couch while you're sitting on it? In areas where these snakes don't normally, are not found. That is scary. Or even here in Spokane, which I'm on the other side of the state, there was a report 2 weeks ago of a rattlesnake coming out of a woman's toilet there. I mean, they're everywhere.
Absolutely, they are, and I'm telling you, Gary. I'm one that looks and sees patterns, and me. There's so many patterns with these animals as a whole, but especially bears and snakes. Snakes are right up there. I don't know what's going on with the snake world, where they got together and said, "Look, let's unite against mankind and bite them back," or what's going on. But it's not a coincidence that they're just appearing everywhere and turning on people.
I think as Earth changes is going on. I think it has a lot to do with the magnetic field shifting. Maybe the Earth is slightly tilted. We would not know, would we? Now, I'm sure the government would know if we kind of tilted on the axis a little bit. Something is going on where it's causing these creatures to go into areas and do things that they normally don't do. That's what I'm saying. It's rather strange. And then you start getting more reports of cryptics, in places which they have never been for. Just like I was mentioning about this Mothman in Eugene, Oregon. Now, I'm sure that's going to make the news now after I mention it. But the guy goes, "Please don't give my name." Well, I can understand. I won't give your name because I don't want people to, right. You got a reputation out there. Anyway, we're going to be taking a break, and after the break, James is going to be doing the news. So stay tuned. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio.
In life's journey, some ask themselves why the big time is passing by. They want it all and they want it now. No need to wonder how or why. They decide to make a connection with the bearer of life from the other side. It's a self-centered new world reflection. It's a one-way ticket for one hell of a ride. They're making a deal. Whether down at the crossroads or Hollywood and Vine, they're making a deal. Gonna have it all for a moment in time. You may be a kingpin drug dealer who wants the competition out of the way. You may be an elite politician who wants total control and a power play. You may be an aspiring entertainer who wants to have their name in lights. You may be a four-star general who wants the upper hand in a global fight. They're all making a deal. With the chief light bearer from the other side, they're making a deal. It's an alternative thing for one hell of a ride.
Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. And thank you.
Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark, wants to give a big shout out to all the truckers that listen to our show. Night Dreams Talk Radio Network brings you the World Paranormal News with James Creechbaum. Now, the latest news.
This is Night Dreams Talk Radio Network News. I'm James Creechbaum, and here is a report that's coming in from a friend of mine named Mark Wise. Here's how it goes. Okay, let's see. I lived out near Clay's Park outside Canal Fulton if you know where that is. The wood line runs from Mansfield really pretty much all the way up through that area, up to Manchester, outside Coventry, Barberton, Portage Lake area. Anyhow, it was late around 2 a.m., and him and his friend were walking through a field with the woods beside us. Clear night and close to a full moon, so the area was lit up decent enough. We came into a clearing, and the tree line was about 60 yards away to the edge. I knew the area very well, and a particular weird tree because it was rotted and broken in half. What was strange was I noticed something beside it that wasn't there before. As I was looking at it, I pointed to the tree out to my buddy, and what was behind it? He said, what? What about, I don't see nothing. And I told him that was not there before. So he took another look, and he agreed with me. He sees something there. Now, it would have been about 8 to 9 foot high. Right then, it slid, or it sidestepped to its left. Then it took off, and it was moving extremely fast through the dark woods. You could hear it crashing as it tore through and was just thrashing through the woods, doing an end around on us, trying to come back around on us through these woods. And it was trying to cut us off. And I told my friend, run and run fast. And we hauled fast as we could out of there, as fast as we could. Now, we could hear it, and it was still moving through the woods and chasing us and trying to cut us off behind us. And this was totally scared him really bad. Now, the thing was, he knew the area, and the way it was shaped like a Z, so the woods along the edge line, so it was trying to actually cut him off. And it really spooked him really bad, he said. Also, a new type of aurora borealis discovered. A group of amateur stargazers has identified an entirely new form of aurora that looks a bit like sand dunes. The pattern, the one amateur stargazer said, may be down to gravity wave disturbances in the atmosphere, which are not dissimilar to the ripples you might see when throwing a stone in a pond. Coronavirus. Well, U.S. warned to prepare for the worst on coronavirus. The U.S. should be preparing for the worst as the Chinese coronavirus spreads, and somebody at the White House needs to be in charge of coordinating that effort, public health experts have said. And, well, the big picture is the virus may never become a crisis here, but experts say that the responsible thing right now is to plan for the worst and hope those plans are never needed. Webcam picks up UFO over erupting Popocatépetl volcano in Mexico. Now, there are two things you can count on with Mexico's Popocatépetl volcano. It will erupt frequently, and there will be UFOs and video footage of the eruption. Now, the latest incident of both occurred January 27th, when the government's webcam, which keeps the volcano under constant surveillance, captured the latest eruption and a mysterious UFO streaking across the sky at the same moment. Also, a U-shaped UFO was recorded over Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. And that happened at the last week of December, but the report just came in. Now, it was a horseshoe object that it kind of met a contrail anomaly and later disintegrates. Observed large black cube. It was shaped in the sky. It was very high, and several witnesses seen it, and they don't know what it was. It definitely wasn't a bird or plane or anything. It's still kind of, jury's still kind of out on that one. Also, a young man waiting for his girlfriend's parents to leave their house was almost scared away by a Bigfoot. Now, this is a report, he would wait for her parents to leave, and he'd wait in a cornfield along their long driveway. As soon as they'd leave, he would come in. Well, while he was waiting in the cornfield, and this is what he said, I was still squatting when I smelled a sudden bad odor like mildew. I looked to the left, then I looked to the right, and I didn't see anything till I looked directly behind me. And at the edge of the mountain where the cornfield began, there, Bigfoot stood about 30 or 40 feet away from me. He was staring at me with big, dark eyes. He had an oval-pointed head, I'd say about 6 to 8 foot tall, and was wide as a refrigerator. His arms were down beside him. He had big fingers and hair 4 to 5 inches long all over his body. He had a bow in his back. He just stood there. He didn't show any teeth or anything. I remember trying to get my legs to start running, but it was like I was frozen. Next news break, top of the hour.
Good evening, or morning, depending on your time zone. To you worldwide, get yourself a cup of Java and find a comfy, easy chair. And get ready for Gary and his guest on Night Dreams Talk Radio, After Dark. And now, here's Gary.
And here I am. Hey, James, good news reports.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, who's our guest coming up?
Well, our guest coming up tonight is Rob Shelsky, and he's very well versed in all aspects of the paranormal, with cryptids, UFOs, you name it. But tonight it's going to be a little bit about Mothman.
Oh, yeah. Let's get him on the line here. What I like about Rob, he has some great books out there on UFOs, like the deadly UFOs and stuff like that. I tell you, he's a good writer, a good researcher, and he's a great guest. Every time we have Rob on the show, I'll tell you what, the listenership goes up big time. So that tells you, a good guest brings in a lot of listeners. Hi, Rob. How you doing, my friend?
Good evening. How are you doing?
I am doing good. Are you staying out of trouble?
No. Are you?
Well, yeah. I got a report, because you're going to be talking about Mothman. I got a report the other day from a trucker. He was up in Eugene, Oregon. He stopped at a truck stop to eat and then fill up his truck with diesel, naturally. And as he was leaving the diner, the truck stop, he thought it was a guy dressed up in a Halloween outfit. But he noticed the guy was like about 6'5" to 7 foot tall. And it had, these red eyes glaring at him. And he said it was uglier than, the movie Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, sure do.
Yeah, he said whatever the guy was uglier than the guy, in Jeepers Creepers. But then the guy levitated off the ground a couple feet. The arms, which weren't arms, wings came out and took off. And he said it really made him nervous because he had eye-to-eye contact with that creature.
How did he describe the eyes, did he?
He said the eyes were red and glowed.
Yeah, that's the standard description of the Mothman all around the planet, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like you saw the Mothman. That's creepy. It's funny, because I was going to mention that, since I know you have other truckers listening to your show, that if they were driving at night and something is flapping or flying right along with them by the car, don't look at it. Just ignore it and keep on driving.
Well, you know what? Just like that one trucker, about a year ago or less, again, he was going through the it seems like, out in the desert somewhere, or going into the desert, or coming out of a desert. That's when they see these cryptids. But he was driving, and he looked out his, driver's cab window, and he saw a Mothman flying right there by his window, staring at him, and then it just took off. And he said he was doing the legal speed limit. So whatever that means, they can fly fast.
They fly really fast from all the descriptions I've heard, yeah.
I don't know. I would be really scary, to be out there in the middle of nowhere, Rob, and then you encounter something like that, which, going back to this, isn't it a fable? Isn't it just somebody created it and the word got around? Or is there a Mothman or something that resembles a Mothman out there?
Oh, I think there definitely is a Mothman or something very like it. The descriptions are worldwide. The old Soviet Georgia, Brazil, different places in South America, Nebraska, Point Pleasant, Virginia, California, Oregon, oddly enough. Didn't you say that trucker you talked to was driving in Oregon?
Yeah, Eugene, Oregon.
Mm-hmm. And also this